Hey, beautiful creatures. I'm Amithia, your curator of deliciously dark pages, and I am here to share every story from 2026 that put me in a chokehold for the entire year, that still has me in a chokehold, actually. Hence, me not being willing to say goodbye to 2026 and needing to keep these stories as close to me as possible, with literal piles on my bed right now to share with you. So, with that, let's get into that. And as we chat through, I'm going to be chatting through some new to me authors. This is going to be very dark romance themed because I read almost exclusively dark romance. So please check your trigger warnings as we go through. But without further ado, let's get to it. Starting with Dark Academia with The Exorcism of Fairies by J.L. Vamper. Now, this is a slow burn academic romance set in the backdrop of Ireland experiencing a plague. Now, our main girl, Atta, is a mortician's daughter who is come to university for a botany course and a folklore course. And her aim is to put a stop to the plague because she has an intrinsic interest in doing so. I'll read it and find out why. And then we have Sunda, her grumpy professor, who has revolutionized the mortician world by creating embalming fluid that just changed the game for everybody. And so he's very, very highly esteemed and so grumpy and so removed from everything that he doesn't want anyone to get close. So Atta ends up becoming his TA, and we go from there. Now, there are also secret societies in this book. Oh yes, it is in the backdrop of a beautiful university campus with so many trees and wintry depictions of weather. We have like meetups in cemeteries and like going through tunnels late at night, and this very like dark, spooky atmosphere kind of vibe. It is slow burn, but every bit of the connection feels so genuine. So genuine. And there's a scene, all I'm gonna say is trees and a skeleton, that just overtook my entire brain and pushed this book into the 5-star category. I can't wait to reread it eventually. The way that scene has seared itself into my brain, into my heart, the way I think about it daily. Daily. If you are a fan of the Hannibal TV series, you might pick up the same kind of imagery of like trees and mortality and that kind of beauty, right? And it's just haunting me. That image is haunting me. I sincerely wish for my next birthday, next February, I just paint myself an image of that because I would love to. If fan art already exists, please tell me. Please tell me where I can get it because I love that scene so much. So much. So Atta and Sunda kind of stole my heart. Now, I have never really been a slow girl. Nope, a slow burn kind of girly. But it didn't feel excruciatingly slow. It didn't feel like nothing was happening because there was the backdrop of this time crunch of this like plaguing Ireland that had very real consequences of like losing people close to them and seeing like the whole country be in fear, right? And then you have the intrigue of what the hell the fairies doing. What's their motivation? What do they want from this situation? How does folklore play into this whole tale? It's beautiful. And the teaching moments are portrayed as like a passion of genius. So the teaching is not boring. It's intrinsically interesting. And I just feel so honored to have gone on this journey. For me, it was a very like cozy wintry read. So I'm really excited to hopefully reread next November, December. So if you like Dark Academia, if you like A Time Crunch, if you like The Fae, just pick this book up, do yourself a favor. It felt like a soft, warm hug to me. And I can't wait to do it again. I can't wait. So tell me if you love this book. Tell me what you loved about it because I can't wait to get back involved. I don't know if J.L. Vamper will become a ride or die author to me. I know I intensely enjoyed this book, but I've not read anything else from her. So if you have, tell me what you liked about it. Tell me what it is about her writing style that brings you back because I'm curious about what else she's put out there. So thanks ahead of time. Okay, the next book is more in Amithia's traditional dark romance kind of theme. Are you ready? We have The Danger You Know by Lily White. Lily White, as you know, is a ride or die author. For me, she's somebody I want to get through her backlist so badly because every time I read one of her books, she doesn't glamorize dark romance. She depicts it as morally freaking questionable and has our heroines do critical thinking throughout. So, but before I get into all that, let me tell you what the book is about. So, The Danger You Know follows Adeline and Ari. Adeline is a wild card of a character who enjoys sensuality, dark music, photography, and contemplating what her existence is when she lives this kind of alternate life between her waking world and her sleeping self. And she also has lived a life of tragedy. She is an orphan. She is an orphan because Ari is a contract killer who offed her dad when she was 16. And she happened to be in the house when that happened, which was not the plan. So Ari heard her crying and felt responsible and protective towards her. So he has been stalking her since she was 16. He sees her go into a relationship where she's less herself, and he can't stand the thought of her being less herself. So he just embroils himself in her life deeper and deeper and deeper. And we go from there. And the thing with this romance, right, is the whole time Adeline knows Ari is unsafe. She doesn't know the extent, but she knows he's unsafe. And then situations happen where he shows he is incredibly unsafe. And yet their chemistry grows and grows and grows and seems to go without restraint. And so you kind of see Adeline questioning, what the hell is she doing? Is she going to survive this even? You don't know. You don't know. Among the backdrop of like exes coming after her and her having an identity crisis essentially as information is revealed, and as she comes to grips with what losing herself has cost her and what coming back to herself might look like. And so this story just does so much. And Lily White, once again, doesn't glamorize the dark romance that is happening. She shows risk as risk. She shows fear as fear. She doesn't gloss over using like lust and attraction to make everything else okay. And so this whole time, you really feel the stakes of the story go and go and go. So if you are someone who has ever felt a little bit lost in life, a little bit like you're catering to other people, this may be the dark romance version of a warm hug. Take that with a pinch of salt and please read your trigger warnings. But like, also, if you just enjoy stalker romances, Lily White. Yeah. So for me, this is part of my library. So if you love it too, tell me all about it. Oh, and also, if you do feel like picking up a new author, Lily White is a fabulous option for many reasons. But one of those reasons is she's experiencing some like intense medical costs right now. So if you have the space to reach out and maybe pick up a Lily White book, it would really help her at this time. So if you have that space, feel free. If not, it's okay. The rest of the fan base has this. Okay, so next we have a new to me author, Lola King, the Silver Falls University trilogy, specifically Loving the Liar. Okay, we have Christian and Ella. Oh, Christian and Ella. I'm just going to start this by saying, if you need a reason to pick up this book, know that I read this book about 4 months ago, and I've reread it 3 times since then. 3 times. 3 times. So let me tell you about the plot, and we'll see if you can figure out why. So in Loving the Liar, we have Ella and Christian. Ella is a picturesque, perfectionist kind of person with epic self-esteem issues who's also a ballerina. And she has these self-esteem issues because her family are abusive as heck, right? And they're also incredibly corrupt because their family is part of a secret society who essentially owns America, as far as I can tell, right? And her family become in debt to the secret society, and Ella may or may not become a way to pay that debt, right? So we kind of thrust into this world of really high power people and Ella just trying to save her family, essentially. Bring on Christian. Christian is an ex of Ella's. They were secretly dating when they were a bit younger, and Christian ended the relationship because he wasn't willing to risk his friendship with her brother. So Ella is finally over Christian, finally over him, and yet he returns to university with the sole aim of winning her back with all of his manipulative daddy ways because, oh yes, I buried the lead. Ella and Christian have a daddy baby girl dynamic. Oh yeah, and it's pure praise kink. There's none of that, I'm strong and I'll only be soft for you. No. It's just Ella wants praise. Christian wants to give praise. Christian wants to take care of her. Ella wants to be taken care of. It's so pure. I mean, ish. We're also in a dark romance book, but like, the dynamic is so accurate and so well depicted, and it might be the main reason I keep coming back to this book. But also, with the ending, I still can't quite decide if I agree with it or not, because like the time frame. But I've talked about it in another video, so I won't go into that here. But like, yeah. So Loving the Liar has had me in a chokehold for the correct representation of Daddy and Baby Girl King, for the levels of manipulation in this book, and the way that, like, if you think things can't get any worse, Lola King will prove you wrong. And I love the way Lola King like drip feeds information, and she can change your perception of a whole scene using one sentence, using like wordplay in one sentence. And I just love the way she writes like the suspense aspect of her dark romance. So if you haven't picked up Lola King yet, and like me or the last of this party, this is your sign. Go do that. Thank you so much. Okay, so the next book in this list of books that have me in a chokehold, is the Mindfuck series by St. Abbey. Now, this is a bind up of all 5 books. I've read 2. I'm halfway through the third. And when I tell you, I have not put this down since reading it midway through December. Okay, let me tell you what it's about though, and you'll figure out why. So the Mindfuck series follows Lana Myers, who is a serial killer with a kill list of men who have done vile things to her that she is determined to get revenge against. And she happens to be dating the FBI agent who is assigned to her case. Yeah, it's as messy as it sounds. But if you are here to support women's rights and more importantly, women's wrongs, Lana Myers is the girl for you. If you just are in a fuck the patriarchy kind of mood, this series does it so well. Does it so well. And if you grew up on Criminal Minds, and you love like profiling and understanding how people did stuff and like patterns of behavior, this book is for you because it's so easy to read and yet it's kind of intellectual in that we love like the pattern recognition and the strategizing and the how the hell is she going to get out of this really sticky situations that just get stickier, right? It's so interesting. And the reading style is so easy to read that I just know this is going to be so rereadable to me. Like I'm so excited. I'm so relieved actually that I got this book secondhand because it means A, it's fluffy. And I've learned through this series that I like floppy books. Who knew? Secondly, the pages are kind of yellowed, which for me makes them easier to read, which is fabulous. It's like on my tangible media journey. But thirdly, it means I'm not afraid to get it a little like roughed up or to reread it in strange places and get maybe a little down or something. And which means I can pick it up even more easily because I'm not concerned about like where or why or how. You know what I mean? Because it's secondhand, it's already been used. And so I'm just immensely glad that the Mindfuck series is now in my life and I'll get to consume it to my heart's desire. And if you wish to join me, feel fucking free. If you've already done this and you're Team Lana Myers, tell me why. Tell me why, because I adore her. She's goals, absolute goals. So if there are things you like for the Mindfuck series, pop them below and then we can like bond together. Okay, so next we have The Madhouse by Liza James. If you're not familiar with Liza James is a dark romance author who writes exclusively sapphic books, right? So firstly, what a goddess, what an icon, what a woman. Okay. Secondly, The Madhouse is a stepsister cult romance, okay, where we have Ophelia and Cedar. Cedar escaped this cult around, I think, when she was 16. Ophelia was left behind for about 10 years, okay? And Ophelia escapes by murdering her family. Yeah. And so Cedar, being the only relative that has any connection to Ophelia now, offers to take her in and kind of like be her guardian, mental health wise, after this tragic event. Okay. Which means Cedar's home is now not a safe place because there's a killer in it. And Ophelia is also dealing with a split psyche where one half of her psyche is cultivized and very repressed and very homophobic and phobic against everything in the culty ways. And another part of her psyche is very murderous and lustful and keen to reclaim her life. It's in the backdrop, by the way, of the cult coming after everybody because that's what cults do, right? So, like, this has so much to it. A, there's like religious trauma, obviously. B, there's like sapphic coming of age kind of this is Ophelia's first sapphic relationship, right? And then we have a revenge plot and then we have a cult plot and there's just so many moving pieces that are so beautiful and I don't want to spoil things, but also this is an unfinished duet. Let me just make that really, really clear. This is book one in a duet that's not released yet. So my strategy for this is I read until the last chapter, the second to last chapter, where a sweet thing happens and I was like, fabulous, the book can end there for me and I'll pick it up again when the next book has been released because then I won't have to deal with the heartbreak of the cliffhanger until I can get to the next book. You see? Yeah. So if you want to join me in all the anticipation, pick up this Liza James book and gush over Ophelia and Cedar with me because they're beautiful and adorable and so hot and so spicy and so authentic and I just love them so much. So join me. Thank you. Okay, next we are gonna soften the reins a little bit with a dark romance departure. Oh yes, are you emotionally ready for this? So we have For Whom the Bell Tolls. I don't know what genre to put this in, so I'm just gonna tell you about it and we'll figure it out together. For Whom the Bell Tolls follows Lily, who dies of cancer in chapter 1, you know it in the blurb, and then she wakes up in the afterlife. And the afterlife is a place where any version of the afterlife that was based on compassion and kindness exists in this space. Paradise provides for all of your needs, and you get to spend how to choose how to spend the afterlife and what your next steps are, right? So this leaves Lily so much space to reckon with her life being cut short, with the choices she made in her life, with the injustices she faced, right? Okay. And she decides to take the brave step down to hell to shed off some religious trauma and also see if she can lend a hand. Because in her human life, she spent so much time on customer service where she couldn't fight back, she couldn't say anything. And at the help desk, yes, with 2 L's, she is permitted to speak back and do violence when necessary and assert herself. And it's beautiful to see, with punny humor to boot. Oh, yes. So this world, beyond gorgeous, right? And then it gets better, because then she meets Baz, who is a demon prince of hell, who is basically a military man, except if a military man actually valued life, like all the life in the realm and the life outside of it, and takes his job oh so seriously, right? And their love is just so soft and so strengthening and so compassionate. Oh, and then we have, I kind of don't want to spoil anything, so I'm not going to say much more, but like, the way this book values compassion and empathy and authenticity, and everybody is valued for who they are, everybody is seen as capable and strong and with their own specific traits, right? So, for example, there's a scene at a funeral where Lily is approached by a demon who is very clearly autistic to speak about work, okay? And Lily is able to recognize that situation for what it is, that the character is not being mean or insensitive. He literally does not have a frame of reference for the social cues of this event, right? So she is able to respond with kindness and say, hey, that's not appropriate, we can talk about it afterwards. But she goes through that whole process of like rationalizing, realizing, compassion, and then chooses to speak. And that is just the tip of the iceberg of the ways that this book is steeped in compassion and understanding. And I adore it. The way that I read this book, and it instantly put me in a book slump, because I was like, I need every world I read now to have those values so plain and so consistent and so stuck to, right? This is the kind of world I am trying to actively create as a mental health professional, as a compassionate person, as an intentional living coach. This is the kind of world I'm trying to create. So in order, like, the gift of finding it in a book put me in a book slump, and I just didn't want to leave. So I didn't leave. Oh no, I reread it to annotate it for a best friend of mine. I'm currently rereading it as an anniversary gift for my boyfriend. And I just don't want to leave. So I'm so excited for the next book in the series we release. I don't know if it's going to be a standalone kind of thing where it's set in the same world but it's a different story, or if the plot is going to continue. I don't know, but I'm here for it. Frankly, anything JC Lynn releases, I am reading, I am supporting. Okay. Also, side note, JC Lynn is recovering from medical procedures right now. So if you do feel like picking up a book, now is a fabulous time to help with this kind of costs. So if you have the space, go for it. But safe to say, I will be supporting every single thing JC Lynn puts out, because this is her debut novel and this is what she gives us. Like, holy crap, you know? Okay, okay, okay. Back to dark romance. Are you ready to settle in? On to the truly cinematic books that still have my imagination in a chokehold, still have my mind pondering what the fuck happened, and still have me gasping to return to those characters and just give them all a fucking hug, quite frankly. So we have dark romance that's also rockstar romance, that's also cult vibes. Oh yes, it has everything. We have The Gods of Tomorrow duet by L. Mitchell. This is Pretty Poisoned and The Road Ruined. Okay. This follows Tegan, who is a crime podcaster who's realized, putting the pieces together, that the Gods of Tomorrow band happen to be potentially murdering girls and women. And they also have this like blood cult that they've started. And so her plan is to drop everything, go become a groupie for the band, and try and figure out if they are actually killing women and girls, and get them put away behind bars and collect evidence. And it goes from there. Now, like I mentioned, there's a cult, there's vampire-esque kind of stuff, there's rock story stuff, there's mind games, so many mind games, because in this book we have a cast of like 5 core characters called family, right? We have Tegan, we have Luca and Declan, the main band members, we have Haley and River, and these guys are like the core group, okay? Every single one of those characters is highly intelligent, is doing their own thing, has their own motivations. We never truly know what they're capable of until they reveal it to themselves. We don't know what everybody's endgame is. We just don't know so much. And the danger in this racks up and up and up, because eventually we get law enforcement involved, we get secret societies involved, we get mental health facilities involved. There's like murder and mayhem and so many moving pieces, okay? And as these beautiful poetic scenes are being shared of like contemplating the meaning of death and how that links to agency or how that links to beauty or whatever, right? Really poetic scenes. We don't know if this is all just a masterful manipulation, if it's actually genuinely meant, if like what the aim is. Are we just trying to continue a cult, or are we reframing reality to create a new society, or are we just wanting a murderous escape? Like, we don't know. We don't know so much until the characters reveal it. It's wild and it's action packed. The way that I could not put this down. I read these 2 books. Okay, let me tell you how long they are. Are you ready? This one, The Pretty Poisoned, nearly 500 pages. And then The Road to Ruined is just over 400 pages. I read them both in a week. Yeah, I read them while I was at home. I read them in between clients at work. I read them very late into the night, into the morning. I could not put them down. And there were so many surprises along the way. And like I mentioned, every single character, we don't know their motivations. We don't know what their end game is. We don't even fully know what they're trying to do, because we just have Tegan's perspective. And if you think it can't get worse, Elle Mitchell will show you precisely how it can get worse. So I'm so excited to read other books from her backlist, especially with this kind of suspenseful element. I kind of think this might be closer to like a horror erotica, actually, because there is a lot of murder and gore, and it's set up like more like a suspense, I suppose, but like there's definitely still the romance element with lots and lots of characters involved. Oh my goodness, and the family plot throughout. Anyway, I'm gonna stop. But like, pick it up. Just please pick up The Gods of Tomorrow duet. A, because I need to talk about this till the end of time, and B, because it's just so freaking good and addictive, and I can't wait to reread it at some point. Like, I added this to my library so fast. I'm so excited to reread it. Again, I'm sincerely curious how it will read now that I know all of the information, or like how much I've forgotten and how much I'll be shown again. And like, I want to go into it like and be able to analyze everybody's motivations and actions from a different perspective now. Like, I'm just so invested. If this ever, I know it's so dark, but if this ever gets turned into a TV series or a film, I will be there so fast. I would bankroll it if I could, you know? Anyway, cinematic series is with Elle Mitchell. Another series that is a god tier series of mine that I read back in February. That's your first clue. By Lee Rivers. That's your second clue. You guessed it. The next series that is cinematic as all fuck to me is the Insatiable series by Lee Rivers. We have Insatiable, we have Voracious, we have Restitution. Now, the Insatiable series is the Edge of Darkness trilogy, actually, by Lee Rivers, but they follow Cade and Stacy, who in the present absolutely hate each other, because in Cade's eyes, Stacy did something completely unforgivable that he is never going to forgive her for. So they, in the present, are figuring out how to be civil with each other whilst denying this undeniable chemistry between them that just builds and builds and builds, because when they were teens, they were each other's first love. And so throughout the stories, we get flashbacks to the past where we see that awkward first teen love and all that innocence happening and unfolding and sharing with each other. And then we flip to the present where they absolutely hate each other. And through the series, they find their way back to each other. But Lee Rivers is another one of those authors where she's like, if you think it can't get any worse, it can. Let me show you, right? So the backdrop of the characters is that Stacy is a pole dancer and a teacher who has a unsafe home life. That is all I'll say for now, but she is experiencing trauma with a capital T throughout most of these books, right? So that's happening, but nobody knows. Her friends don't know. Cade doesn't know. Nobody knows, right? Just to add even more tension, she feels like she absolutely cannot tell Cade or her friends because her best friend is Cade's twin sister. So there's that element of like they can't be together because of the whole best friend's brother dynamic. I don't really get that personally in books. I'm like, I don't feel like that's that big of a deal, but maybe that's just me being more focused on joy. And then Cade has kind of become this black market contract killer through situations that were mostly out of his control, right? And again, nobody knows. Nobody knows. And their lives just get more and more and more dangerous and entwined and it's a hell of a ride. Going blind though, I'm not going to say anything else. I hopefully have been vague enough to get you interested, but vague enough that you still don't know what's happening, because I went into this series pretty much blind. I saw, oh my god, it's on my Instagram. One sec. I saw a quote from one of the books, and I just decided in that moment, I'm reading this immediately. I'm reading this immediately. So the quote, I found it. Are you ready? The quote that got me reading this entire series with no fucking context was, I'm sorry, you're okay, you're safe with me, I found you, little one. Yeah, exactly. So knowing no more, I picked up this entire series for my birthday last year. I read it all in about a week and a half, and I haven't stopped thinking about it since. So I'm going to reread it this year. I'm going to bring that vlog to you because I have resisted since last February, and guess what? It's nearly my birthday again this February. So on February 24th, I'm going to begin this reading vlog, and I will be bringing it to you, and I'm so freaking excited. So with that, that is all of the books that had me in a chokehold through 2025. Hopefully you can see why I'm not quite ready to let that reading year go. And I'm so curious how 2026 is going to top it. When I read like maybe just over 50 books last year, and 10 of them are like God tier in my library. Yeah. So who knows? Now, I am wondering though. So I, as you may tell from this list, really enjoy dark romances that are very, very character driven and apparently more action packed. So any suggestions, pop them below. If these were any of your favorite authors, please tell me, especially with Lola King. I'm like, where do I start with her universe? I don't know. I think I've started on the softest end of her universe, and I'll be going back, but like, I'm kind of scared, and please tell me what you'd recommend. Thank you so much. And if you read more Lily White books, let me know, because I want to get through her discography, but I deeply need to be in the mood. But every time I've picked up a Lily White book, she blows me away. I adore her. So I do want to get back through her discography, but like bibliography. If there's a better word for that, let me know. But I'm not sure of a time frame around that. So again, any recs, let me know. And thirdly, if you're a Lee Rivers stan, just keep me updated on the release dates, because I know that with the Insatiable series, there's going to be like a second generation and maybe a third generation bunch of books. I don't know what the release date is. I don't know what the reading order will be. I'm trying to get through Little Stranger, the Web of Silence duet at the moment, but I'm just enjoying it quite a bit less because Insatiable has got tier. I don't think anything's going to top that, so I kind of need to put that expectation down. But that said, if you too are on the Lee Rivers train, anxiously awaiting, excitedly awaiting the next installment of her series, join me, and look out for the reading vlog coming up with the Insatiable trilogy. But with that, I will put down, I'm lying, I'm not going to stop thinking about any of these books. With that, I am going to love you and leave you with all of these beautiful recommendations of all the books that had me in a chokehold through 2025. Again, no idea how 2026 is going to go, especially because I'm looking to create softer places in my reading. JC Lynn started something, okay? And I have no idea what that's going to look like, which reminds me, I've tried researching contemporary romances lately, but like there's no death-defyingness in there. And from what I can tell, the worst thing that could possibly happen is that somebody argues. So I'm not quite sure what's going to draw my interest in the contemporary romance world when there seems to be no stakes. But then I do want more spaces where like empathy and strength are the highlight, and authenticity. So pop any recommendations below, because I'd really love to know where the hell to start in creating soft spaces in my reading journey. Thank you so much in advance. So with that, I am going to love you and leave you. Thank you so much for sticking with me through this journey. I know it's been kind of chaotic, but we are so nearly there with catching up. And I can't wait to catch you in the next video. So feel free to stick around.